and good afternoon, and welcome to Talk to Coach with Dr. D live. First of all, I would like to welcome all my viewers who are watching us live on Talk to Coach series. And again, we are going to talk today on a very wonderful topic called Whom to Marry, Why to Marry. And in order to discuss this, today we have another coach, Kanika. Kanika is a life and relationship coach, and today she is going to talking about the topic of why to marry, whom to marry. We are going to talk about expectation before marriage. So, Kanika, how are you doing today?
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Yes, sir, I'm doing very well. Thank you.
Great. And before I just start, we just start talking about the topic expectation before
Yeah,
marriage. For our viewers, just I would like to give them some brief and some research and some data, so that
sure.
they will have a proper understanding why we are going to talk on this topic. See,
Mm-hmm.
Kanika, what happens? I was sharing the research in our last discussion also to our audience. As per
Mm-hmm.
research in India, around 80 lakhs people are getting married every year. But as per 2023 research, around 80% of the peoples are not happy and satisfied with their life partner and married life. So this becomes a very difficult and challenging issue for the people, because marriage is not a small thing in our life. It is very important part of our life, and we do lot of coaching relating to the life, relationship, career, business at Universal Coaching Federation. So as a coach, we have a better understanding of what is happening in the marriage before and after that. I always keep on sharing, relationship between a spouse is all about managing the expectation between the two people. Till you manage the expectation, relationship continues in a better way. The moment you stop managing expectation, or you are not able to manage the expectation, relationship start becoming difficult. So what happens when people start looking for a probable life partner? When somebody starts looking for a life partner to get it married, whether it is a boy or it is a girl, everybody has certain expectation from their would-be life partner. If some girl is looking for a boy or boy is looking for a girl, they have expectation. Okay, this kind of my life partner should be there. Later on, based on this expectation, when they get married, realize that those expectations are very different post marriage, and then the challenges starts happening in their life, in their relationship, and they feel cheated, they feel dissatisfied. So I would like to just understand from you, from your experience, what are those expectations are there, and how people choose their life partner, and where they make mistake or where they are not able to be focused on, and why the challenges they start facing it out sometime even immediately after marriage. They don't require to wait for years. They start realizing these challenges even after a couple of months of their marriage. So, what are the key challenges you see in this marriage relating to pre and post expectation, Kanika, as per your experience? Would you like to share with our viewers? Yeah,
Sure, sir. So I feel that before getting married, a girl and a boy think marriage is only a bed of roses.
yeah,
They see that, okay, you look good together, you have a certain things that are in common, but you don't know the real picture because you've not really lived with each other. It's very different when you're talking offhand, and it's very different when you're living with each other. Somewhere expectations are very high, and the bar is set very high before the marriage, and they feel everything is going to be beautiful like a fairy tale. Well,
Right.
honestly, life doesn't happen that way.
True.
Reality hits after the honeymoon phase is over. When you come back to a normal life, people are
Yeah.
out of your house. That's when reality actually hits you. And
Right.
nobody talks about those days. Everybody is talking about the bigger things. Nobody's
Right.
talking about the day to day. There is no, so there can be compatibility on bigger things. But when they look at the smaller things, I feel somewhere a couple doesn't discuss that enough before they get married. And all that suddenly when it comes out in reality, it feels like a shock. And that's
Right.
when reality hits, saying, "Arey, maine to I didn't expect this. I expected something very different from life, whereas this is the real life." So I think the people are just living in another world, thinking everything is going to be very rosy, everything is going to be perfect, but in reality it really doesn't happen that way. That is my thought about why people have a lot more expectations going into a marriage, whereas when the expectations are not met, then it leads to disappointment, and then you feel like everything is falling apart.
Right. I think that is one of the biggest aspect, reality, which is they create before marriage for their would-be spouse, are mostly it is in influence or it is in attraction. We were doing the research. Our team of Universal Coaching Federation was talking to around 100 of the people who got married recently, and
Mm-hmm.
we asked top five things for a
Mm-hmm.
girl. We were talking this research on the girls, and we asked the top five expectation you have in a boy when you are going to get married. You know what are the first top five things was there? It was surprisingly for me. The first is the qualification and education of the boy. What boy is doing? What is his qualification? Second is the where he is working, how much money he
Mm-hmm.
is earning, what is the position and profile a person is having, and the third thing about his behavior, about the thoughts, the kind of emotions, the kind of things a person is carrying. And the fourth thing we understand is how is the financial and social status. And the fifth thing was of course, two things was fifth was two. In fact, fifth and sixth was two things. One, they talk about the financial and social status of the parents and the caste, class, and culture. So this was the top five and six thing people was having expectation from the life partner, especially the girls who are looking for a boy as a life partner. When we asked them, how many of you, the top two was education, qualification, and the job and career and money your spouse is earning, would be a spouse is earning. When we asked ki after marriage, how many of you have seen the certificate of your husband and salary slip of your husband? Not even a single. Zero. So you marry to a boy, seeing their education, qualification, and how much salary he is earning, in which organization he is doing the work and job, whether he is an engineer or a doctor or an accountant. And after marriage, you have not seen his certificate, you have not seen his pay slip and salary slip. Even I asked, did you able to see the bank statement? Okay, fine, salary slip might not be available for the organization, but can you able to see the bank statement or bank balances? That was
Mm-hmm.
also not there. So this is the way we make expectation. We marry to some, we wanted to marry to somebody on the expectation of their qualification, education, financial earning capability. But when the person gets married, that becomes totally irrelevant. This was a very eye opening for us and my team when we concluded this research. Ki if you marry somebody without, same thing we ask the boys, what was your expectation when you are looking for a girl to get married? 95% of the boys they said they look a smart and handsome and good looking beautiful girl. That is the first criteria. The look, the physical attraction, the look of the lady is the first criteria. Second is the education and qualification. Financial status doesn't matter if the financial status of the family is good. So that is the way boy select girls for their life partner
Hmm.
in majority of the time. When we say that ki once you get married, is this going to be a still valid reason? You got the girl or boy as per your expectation, then why you having differences? You had the
Yeah.
expectation you need this person, this career, this job, this career, this kind of girl in your life, then why you have problems? The real
Right.
expectation which is relating to your personality, relating to your expectation post marriage, your independency of decision making, your job and career, what is going to be post marriage, who is going to take care of the family, who is going to take care of the household activity, when you are planning for the family, where you are planning to live, who is going to relocate where, who is going to take the job, who is having loan, who is having installments, who has the additional liability of the parents. Nobody talks about this. And these
Right.
are the real expectation starts happening post marriage with most of the time and people. And that is the reason, because you are not able to understand what is going to be the reality after marriage, people are able to create a superficial expectation based on your desire or based on your influence or based on some influence from somebody else. All other peoples are doing this way, so I also do the same way. And this becomes a very challenging aspects for any person to find it out a perfect match. See, in our marriage, we called life partner as a soulmate. A person can be soulmate if your soul is matching. And soul denotes our emotional intimacy, your emotional intelligence. Unless you're emotionally matching with one another, being in the relationship, staying in the relationship, continuing in the relationship is very difficult. And that is the one of the biggest problems and challenges we are having with the marriage and the relationship, which was not very high earlier. Now it has started because men and women are all highly empowered in our society. India is a growing country. It has grown. Education level has increased. We are the fifth largest economy in the world. Financial status has increased. People are able to get into a better position, bigger position. These challenges creates long-term issue which is not being sorted out. So, how you can, as a coach, how you feel these things can be empowered, coach, and transform to the people so that they should be able to understand how they should be able to take better decision while choosing their life partner, and the people who are already married, how they can manage their relationship by managing the expectation to create better life and relationship post marriage. What is your thought on that?
Sure. Um, so I firstly I agree with most of whatever you said. The genuine problem today lies in a different thing. We all think if someone is financially stable, that is going to buy us happiness, but in reality, that doesn't get us anywhere. So really, that is
Right,
something which is important, but it's not the main thing. So then I think in today's date people should look at more compatibility. We should look at more intimacy. Now intimacy doesn't only mean physical intimacy. Intimacy is
right,
at a lot of levels, and the levels are really deep. we only, before we get married, if it's an arranged marriage or if it's a love marriage, we only know certain sort of intimacies. But really the
Right.
intimacy is tomorrow when you are in a problem situation, somebody is standing next to you and giving you that support. That is exact intimacy according to me. and in
Right.
and in reality we have so many different type of intimacies, and it's important to know each other's level of intimacy and what is it that you
Right.
can bring or you can express, right? When we look at
True.
physical intimacy, we look at emotional intimacy, we look at psychological intimacy, everything matters. And I think that's where today people are not on the same page before they get married. They talk about, oh, where are we going for honeymoon, oh, what are we going to spend on our car or whatever. But when you do, who is going to bring grocery tomorrow? And another sub
Yeah.
problem where I feel today is that women have somewhere matched up to the level of what men are today, and women are
Right.
equivalently doing everything in this world, right? But somewhere the
Yeah.
expectation of women still running a house or looking after the children solely, I think somewhere
Right.
those expectations are not clear before they get married. And there is no
Right.
conversation about these things also today. So that's where the
Right.
differences arise, when it's just taken for granted, oh, the guy has to be the breadwinner or the girl has to be the
Right.
caretaker. But whereas
Right.
now responsibility has to be shared, and that's where the problems come in play. And somewhere, sir, the society has also created a certain stigma where this is how it's
Right.
supposed to be. But really it should
True.
be a couple who define really those standards of where their marriage,
Right.
and they should stand strong without influence of other family members or other people around them who are trying to influence
Right.
them with their thoughts. So I think
Right.
these conversations before a marriage are so important to have a happy married life, to be more
Right.
compatible to one another.
Right. Very true. And whatever you say that it is really, we never talk. Like, when we, even in love marriage or even in arranged marriage, you get an opportunity to talk to your spouse, would be a spouse before marriage. So in all those discussion, people only talk about pleasing one another. They either talk about good plans, going to foreign for honeymoon, going for this trip, that trip, and they never talk about the reality. They never talk about, as you say, that who is going to bring the grocery tomorrow. And there the problem starts. Like, even the girl, they are empowered, they have never bringing the grocery for their own house in their father's house. So how they think that they are going to bring the grocery tomorrow? They are not going to learn it tomorrow. It's not a big deal, they can bring it anybody. But even these things has to be talked and discussed, and this becomes challenging. Now male is also working, female is also working, male also has to go to the office, female also has to go to the office. So nobody has so much of surplus time. They can say, okay, fine, you carry away with this thing and I will able to manage those kind of things. With this thought, I was just reading another research. Nowadays research says that when people go on honeymoon in India, around 20% of the couple are able to decide within the period of honeymoon itself whether they are going to stay with their spouse or not, whether this spouse is going to be. So 20%, one fifth. So one fifth of the people are able to make up their mind whether this life partner is going to be a long term life partner, or I should able to judge him or taste him. Like, we have a provision period in our organization. When you join an organization, you have a provision period for 3 months. Yeah. So that, I think, it has started, and that's the thought it was coming in my mind when I read this research. Ki one fifth of the people, they are able to understand that ki, okay, I think this person, this boy or this girl is not manageable, and we should look for an opportunity how we should able to get rid of that. And it is happening from both side. It is not happening
Yeah.
only from the male side or the female side. Both are able to take decisions. So people are empowered and they are able to take decisions, and this matter becomes more important. And that is the reason at our Universal Coaching Federation, we have learned a very specialized coaching program called Whom to Marry, Why to Marry, where we are coaching people empowering people, transforming people to understand how you can find it out a perfect life partner for you, and how you can create a meaningful life relationship journey starting from love to intimacy to a soulmate concept. We define, as you were saying about the intimacy, we define the intimacy at the four level, which starts from emotional intimacy, getting to the physical intimacy, getting to a intellectual intimacy, and then getting finally to a spiritual intimacy. But unless emotionally you are able to connect with the person, you are able to connect with a spouse, you cannot get into physical intimacy. That physical intimacy will be superficial. The real will not be there. So first, emotional connect is there, very important. And when you are able to connect with emotionally and physically, automatically you are getting into intellectual intimacy, and that intellectual intimacy is going to take you to the spiritual intimacy, to the life, to the towards the latter part of the life, retirement planning, where you require somebody as your companionship, where you can create a different level of journey for the people in your life, with your future kids, with your future spouse, and all that. So this becomes very, very, very important for a people. See what happens ki nowadays our education system has become so specialized ki for everything we have a coaching, or we have a training, or we have a schooling, or we have a vocational programs. Even you want to learn swimming, you need to have a training. You want to learn cycling, you need to drive a car, you need to have a specialized training. But when you try to drive your own life after marriage, you don't have any training, you don't have any coaching, you don't have any education. So for driving a car, you are buying for 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs. You require to be getting a driving license. You require to be practicing it, certifying it. Then you can go and take the drive. But if you are driving your life, you don't have any license for that. And that is the role of a coach. We at Universal Coaching Federation, we are empowering and transforming people to discover their oneself, to understand what is their real personality. Unless you know your real personality, it is very difficult to find it out what is your emotion. Emotions are the key. Emotions are the key for our decision making. We operate and take decision based on emotion. But our logical mind plays a very important role. So it is very important for the people to reconcile your logical mind with the emotional mind to take better decision. And if you are emotionally not connected with your spouse, the marriage is not going to be successful. So in our
Yeah.
program, we talk about how you can discover your own emotion, and based on that, you can find it out a spouse which is emotionally matching as per your personality, as per your emotions. And when you are able to connect emotionally with one another, rest of the things going to happen just as a way we start progressing into our life. It happens into our marriage also, it happened to our relationship also, and things started turning out to be a beautiful marriage. And then you experience all sorts of love, intimacy, and companionship as a soulmate. Any thought, anything you would like to share with our audience, Kanika, before we wind up our session? It was a wonderful session today.
So, if I had that opportunity many years back, things would have been different for me today. And that's
Right,
why I mean, of course, when we joined the coaching sessions, we got to know what our personality really was. And I'm sure a lot of before that, I did not know, right? And had I
right,
got the right knowledge and the right guidance for choosing the right spouse, maybe life would have been very different for me today. And I think that's such
right,
an important reason, and such a great platform for people today to actually discover first who they are themselves, which is very
right,
important. Before you know who you are yourself, you wouldn't know what kind of a spouse you really want in your life. And
right,
that's
right,
coming from your emotional self, your what are your physical needs, what are your intellectual needs, and what are spiritual is much later, but yes, connecting on the other levels has become so
right.
important and integral for a good
Yeah,
marriage, for a successful marriage. For that, the first thing is knowing yourself. And through
True.
this program, I think what it beautifully does is it just brings in such a great reality check for yourself, who you really are, helps
Right.
discover who you are, your personality type, your traits, what is exactly, what are things mean to you. So I think it's a great platform, a great program where people can come and first discover themselves and then know more
Right.
deeper as to what they want from life and what they really want from a spouse. So that's
Right.
just self discovery and knowing your own personality, which becomes the most integral part of any successful marriage.
Right. That's really great. And with this one, I would like to conclude this session today. And I would like to thank all our viewers who are watching us live on our social media platform, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. They are lovely audience, and they keep on asking various kind of question. We could not able to take this question today, but in next session we will able to take their questions again. And I invite all the people who are watching us, any challenges you have relating to the life, career, job, business, career, marriage, relationship, you can write it to us. And we have many coaches in our platform who will be able to answer this question. We are the largest coaching organization in India with more than 200 coaches across all the India who are able to help the people, empower and transform the people in all verticals. I would like to thank you very much again, Kanika, and thanks very much to our audience. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.